Mr. R wanted us to learn, and I, Riley,
And I, Rayna.
from his fourth period chemistry, have learned to a B level. The following concepts from the first 12 chapters of our chemistry book. This is not an inclusive list, but my selection of concepts from each chapter that I remember. Chapter 1, Intro to Chemistry. In this chapter, we learn that 5 types of chemistry, which are organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, biochemistry, analytical chemistry, and physical chemistry. We also learn that everything, living or non-living, is made up of matter.
In Chapter 2, we learned about extensive and inextensive properties and the states of matter, solid, liquids, and gas. We also learned how to identify substances and physical changes. We learned about mixtures, both homogeneous and heterogeneous.
In Chapter 3, we learned how to use and express measurements, which are fundamental to scientific experiments. We then learned accuracy, precision, and error. We also learned how to measure SI units and what they are. The base units commonly used by chemists are the meter, the kilogram, the Kelvin, the second, and the mole.
In Chapter 4, we learned about early models of the atom and that Democritus believed atoms are tiny, indivisible, indestructible particles. We then learned about Dalton's atomic theory that said atoms of the same element are identical and that atoms of different elements can physically or chemically combine. Then we learned about electrons, protons, and neutrons and their charges.
In Chapter 5, we learned that Rutherford's atomic model was not accurate because it could not explain chemical properties of elements.
Tigers, I'm glad you guys stay after school. It is now time to go catch the bus. Please go get on the bus if you're taking the bus home. If you're not taking the bus home, it is time to leave campus and walk home. Have a good evening.
Then Niels Bohr came out with a model that had specific circular paths or orbits around the nucleus. These were called orbitals. We also learned that the quantum mechanical models that determine energies an electron can have and their various locations around the nucleus. We also learned that different wavelengths and frequencies give off different types of colors in the light. These are caused by the jumping of electrons and energy levels in orbitals.
In Chapter 6, we learned about Mendeleev's periodic table and his arrangements of the elements. The periodic law states that elements are arranged in order of the increasing atomic number. We also learned about metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. There are 2 types of metals, transition metals and intertransition metals. We also learned that a cation is an ion with a positive charge and an anion is an ion with a negative charge.
In Chapter 7, we learned about the formation of cations, which is when an atom loses valence electrons and gains a positive charge, and the formation of anions, which is when an atom gains valence electrons and has a negative charge. We also learned that an ionic compound is a compound made of cations and anions at room temperature is solid.
In Chapter 8, we learned that a covalent bond is when atoms are held together by sharing electrons. There are 4 types of covalent bonds: single covalent, double covalent, triple covalent, and coordinate covalent bonds.
In this chapter 9, right? That one. Okay. We learned about monatomic ions. They consist of single atoms with a positive or negative charge. Polyatomic ions consist or are composed of more than one atom. We also learned that a binary compound is composed of 2 elements and can be ionic or molecular. Okay.
In Chapter 10, we learned that a mole is a substance of 6.0 times 10 to the 23rd representative particles, and that a representative particle refers to the species present in a substance. We also learned how to convert moles to a number of particles. We also learned that the percent composition of an atom is the percent by mass of each element in a compound. In Chapter 11, we learned that there are 5 different types of reactions. One is combination, decomposition, single replacement, double replacement, and combustion atoms. That concludes.
Woohoo! Catch that bus now. Run.
Thanks, Basil.